We need to welcome to the stage our next storyteller. We have Mack Dihle coming to the stage. She has been riding motorcycles for 17 years. Hey, me too. Look at us starting the same time. And currently has a 2017 Victory Gunner. She plays lead trumpet in a queer Latin band and also plays on Rec Women's soccer team. She has been featured in the Amazon Prime movie Women in the Front Seat, which if you have not yet seen, when you get home tonight, you are going to go watch that. It exclusively featured women-identified folks of all walks of life who ride motorcycles, and it is a fantastic flick. When Mack is not fighting crime in the street, she's riding alongside her partner Adrian up the Sheridan Road twisties in the North Shore, looking for cats for the distribution system. So, if you do not know about the cat distribution system, please find out about it and you will suddenly own like 6 cats. So, please welcome to the stage a brand new blah 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 storyteller, Mack Dihle.
Hey everybody. Hey. Thanks for having me. Normally I do storytellings at Volumes Book Cafe over in Wicker Park, and I think what's so unique about this venue is I could be more specific about motorcycle stuff and geek out, you know, without you going, huh, you know. So my story is about crashes and things, but it's not gory. It's funny for the most part. So I started riding in 2007. I did Ride Chicago, you know, on the Rebels and all that stuff. And my first bike was a 2004 Suzuki Marauder VZ800. You know, still carbureted and everything, had to pull out the choke. Vance and Hines pipes, blue and white flames, white wall tires. I mean, like a rockabilly kind of bike. Great size bike for a first, you know, bike and everything. Inverted forks for Lakeshore Drive before they finally, like a year ago, got rid of the, you know.
Oh, it's still there.
You know. Anyway, so that was my bike for a while. And in about 2010, so I'm like 3 years into riding, I worked night shift down in Stickney, the water plant over there at Central Avenue and like 39th Pershing area. And I got off at midnight every night. And this particular night that I'm thinking of was the summer. I'm pretty sure it was close to July 4th where everyone starts really drinking and driving, you know. And so I've always lived in the Rogers Park area for the most part, and it's a long commute. You got I-55, Lakeshore Drive, and then North Side, right? So I get off at midnight from work. I get on all my gear. It's all blacked out. I'm looking cool, right? So I'm on I-55. I'm going around up northbound, right, on I-55. And right around Damon, it's like raised up in the air, you know? And you can smell bread in your helmet, you know? Like, cars can't smell that. We can, right? So it's really nice. Like, late in the night, you can smell the bakeries. And I'm starting to notice in my side mirrors, this car is like floating, going around people, just super fucking impatient, probably drunk, who knows? And I'm noticing that they're really gaining speed on me. I look down at my odometer, and I'm going like top speed on that Marauder, like 75. It's like, you know? And I'm like, fuck, they're gaining on me. They must be going over 100 miles an hour, you know? And so they're coming quick, and I'm like, I'm gonna get out of the left lane. So I get over to the right, thinking he's got all 3 other lanes on the left to like get around me, right? And it gets closer and closer, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, bare knuckling it. And I see them then suddenly go from the left lanes all the way around me to the right lane. And they're like right beside me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you gonna do, buddy? You know? And then it's like they went like this. And I see my front fender, right? I see the car hit my front tire and fender. And I'm going like 75, 80, right? They're going who knows what. And the glance and the speed that they were going at and the physics was something of like a miracle. It went, heard it, saw it, they hit me, and I went nowhere. I stayed upright, completely. Like a force field was around me or something. So I should have died. I should have fucking died. You know, and so I get home that night and I'm like, That's it. He didn't see me. He just saw a little tiny little red brake light, right? It was dark, it was after midnight. You know what? I'm so stupid. I should have wore high vis, right? So, since 2010, I've been wearing this fucking vest. I probably have never told the bleeders about this, and you wonder why the fuck I always wear this. This is why. And I thought, that didn't spook me. Got right back on my motorcycle, started riding to work, and I didn't get hit for quite a long time. Fast forward to about, I think it was like 2014. I'm living in Edgewater. I live in a big high-rise, and right next door is a mid-rise where you gotta rent parking. And they're like spaces that are numbered and leased out and blah, 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 blah. I rent a space for my motorcycle. I already had tiffs with these neighbors there because I didn't live in the building. I rented a space. And they thought it was really cute that they could park shitty next to me because, I'm not taking up the whole space the way a car would, to be like, bitch, So we already had tiffs where like I'd walk out to my motorcycle and half their fucking cars in my space, and I'm like, bitch, So of course I'm going to work, afternoon shift. It starts at 4 p.m. So about, I think it was 3 p.m. I go out to my bike and I see it's like parked right where you're sitting. And there's this spiral bound 8.5 by 11 note taped to my headlight and fly screen. And I'm like, what the fuck? Now what? What do they possibly have to say? I'm in my reserved parking space, And the note reads something along the lines of, "Dear neighbor, I am so sorry we backed into your motorcycle. Nothing looks damaged, and we put it back on the kickstand. If for some reason you find that there's any damage, please don't hesitate to contact us. Love and light, sisters, Rachel and Mary." And I'm like, sisters? So it turns out that they were 21-year-old Mormon sisters that were like on mission, and they lived in the building for like short term or whatever. And what I can't figure out is like how they figured out how to get a motorcycle back on its kickstand or whatever. So I was impressed, and they left their phone number, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm looking at my bike, and of course a non-rider is like, nothing's bad, And meanwhile, the shifter is like bent all the way up into the engine, so it's like not drivable. Tail light is broken, headlight is broken, tail rack is like blah, blah, blah. It's not good, right? Foot peg all bent off. So it's like the beginning of the season. It's like June. And so I call around all these different moto shops and I'm like, can you take it? They're like, it is the busiest time of the year right now. Maybe in 2 months you can get it back, And I'm like, no, thinking like the whole season is a wash, and all that. And especially like from Rogers Park to Stickney, you really want to ride a motorcycle to work, not a car. It's such a waste of gas. So I do a rant on Facebook, right? I'm like, you guys, this happened. I thought it was nuns, and not till later. I'm like, 2 nuns knocked over my motorcycle. Yeah, right. So I go on Facebook, and then a nice high school buddy from marching band. Yeah. Yeah. So he chimes in and he's like, I'm in South Korea right now in the army, stationed there. I'm there till December. If you're willing to go to Michigan, that's where I'm from, to go to my parents' pole barn where my bike is, you're totally welcome to have it for the whole season. I won't be back till December in the States. And I went, oh my God. I'm gay, but I love it. So I took a megabus with a fucking helmet. I went and got that shit. I'm expecting it to be a barn bike, like a dirty, like whatever, because I didn't care. I was just gonna be so grateful, even if it was like a fucking 250 or whatever. No offense, if anyone has 250. But you know what I mean? I was just like, yeah, this is fucking great, So I get there, and his parents open up the barn and everything, and it is not a barn bike. It is a show bike. It has no rear seat. It's a 2005 Victory Jackpot Premium with like red. It's all red with yellow flames, and it was not like cheesy flames. It was like gorgeous, like, remember when Progressive had that motorcycle show forever and they got rid of it, what the fuck? But like, had really show bikes that were really good. It was like that, right? And I'm like, oh fuck. And I had only ridden, you know, my 800cc bike, and this one was 1500 cc's. Yeah. And I'm like, am I ready for this? I don't know. And so I'm like, I got no choice. Over to the bus. So I get on the bike, I ride it with just a backpack, because there's not even a rear seat on it, you know, it's show bike. So I take it back to Chicago, and over that whole summer, it became a part of me, you know, my body, and it's just an extension of my body, right? So I fell in love with big bikes at that point. And when my Marauder was finally out of the shop in like September or whatever, I got it back and I'm like, oh, it's so little. Can't even get around the semis, you know? So I ended up selling it, and then I had a couple bikes. Had a 2011 Yamaha Striker that I loved. That was a 1300, but it had fork seal problems that were like part of a recall, blah, blah, blah. Ended up trading it in, and now I have my current bike, the 2017 Victory Gunner, right? So this was on a trade-in. They took the Striker and everything without knowing what the problems were, but it's fine. So fast forward, like, since that 2014 incident, I had not had any weird incidents for the most part. And I thought, this is great. I'm wearing my high vis. Everything's good. I'm a super defensive rider. I always have loud pipes to roar at people. They can get close to me, you know. I'm always scanning, you know. And so this past summer, 2023, June, I'm driving in my pickup truck. My Nissan Frontier, and it's like my pride and joy, because I came from fucking nothing, coming to Chicago in 2006, working at Curves, Women's Workout World, you know, and then I sold my soul to the police, and now I make good money. But
yeah, health insurance.
Right? Yeah. Pandemic safe, you know, I'm one of the good ones. But anyway, so June 2023. I'm riding in my pickup truck, right? And I really, because I pay for everything myself, I've never had help from anybody. Everything I own, I take super good care of. I'm a total gearhead. I am my daddy's daughter. You know, I like shine everything up, and I love cleaning it. Like, I'm just loving it, right? And so I'm on I-94, going fucking through downtown, and a white Jeep, unlimited 4-door Jeep comes. I'm already halfway to the fucking lane with my turn signal on, right? Going in whatever, and they decide they're not gonna wait. And they barrel right through, sideswipe my truck, go off, and it's a hit and run, right? And so I'm dealing with the insurance, and I'm like, oh, fuck, man. So I put it back in my garage for a while, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna ride my motorcycle, you know? So 2 days later, I'm riding on Sheridan in Rogers Park, right? And I'm going home. I now live in Rogers Park. If you're going up Sheridan, you have to make a left on the 2E to then go west, right? So I'm on 2E. I'm approaching Clark. There's that mobile gas station right there where, was it Willie B. Johnson? Or Willie, he did the free gas right there? Yeah, that dude. Yeah, so it was that corner. So I'm not first in line, but I'm second in line. And there's like a little hill, right? So we are east of the Clark, right there at that intersection. So east and 2E, Clark and 2E. So there is like a little bit of a hill, and in front of me is this 16-foot box truck. It's white, it's really large. He's at the top of the hill, he's number one. So I'm thinking he's gonna roll back before he goes forward when the light turns green, right? Because it's a manual, most likely. So I'm back at least like 20 feet for that rollback. And for a while, no one was behind me, so it was fine. So I'm waiting, and then the light is like kind of long, and I'm like, what the fuck? So then eventually I just like hit into first gear, pulling the clutch. So I'm waiting, right? And then this another fucking Jeep, 2007 Jeep Liberty, comes up behind me. And they're kind of like creeping slowly, and I'm watching them in my mirror. And this woman, the whole time she's like letting off her gas and letting it kind of like creep forward towards the light and me, she's texting. She's not letting her eyes up at all. And I'm just watching her and watching her. And for some reason, because I was hit 2 days prior in the truck, I'm like, I'm not fucking moving. I'm standing my ground, you know? And I could have easily pulled right into the gas station and just let her fucking be and let it, whatever. But I just didn't want to retreat. I was just like, fuck you, you know? And maybe if I had a GoPro in the back to like prove it all, you know, like maybe, but I don't know what got into me. I was just feeling feisty. So light turns green, box truck rolls back. She just, boom, she hit me from behind. She, the Victory Gunner has a very swooping, long fender, thank God. And so she crushed it in. It was still drivable because there was like 2 inches of play before it hit the rear tire. But she broke the brake light, the tail light, the tail rack. The tail lights never touched this hard saddlebags. Now they do. They're smushed in, you know, and I'm like, fuck. And if any of you know Victory, it discontinued in 2017. I bought it brand new in 2017, but I got a big discount because they were done, right? Like forever. And any motorcyclist knows that even when you have a bike that isn't discontinued, it's not a one-stop shop when you get hit. It's got to go to the paint place. It's got to go to the place that has your parts and so forth, so forth. And I thought, oh my God. And also I thought, what is State Farm going to tell me? Because I just got hit 2 days ago and now I got hit again. Both of my different vehicles, like they're gonna think like, what the fuck, you know? So the woman is behind me. She could have easily pulled right into the mobile gas station. Instead, she goes around in the intersection. And I'm thinking, oh great, she's gonna be another hit run. And I'm like, pull over, you know? She finally pulls over under the viaduct there, just west of Clark. And I'm like all geared up because, as you know, in 2010, I almost got killed on I-55. So I'm like trying to pull off my gloves as fucking fast as possible and pulling out my phone to take a picture of her plate, right? In case she goes off. And she's like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'll give you my agent's phone number and his name. And I said, no. Policy number, you know, because that's what's gonna pay for this shit, right? Because I had no idea how much it would cost. I mean, gosh, to get parts for this bike would be really hard. So she's like very, very nice, but she's being very shady and she's not sharing your info. And I said, you know what? I have a picture of your plate. You meet me at Clark and Devon at that police station right there. And she's like, fine, you know. So we get there. Those cops, I'm not Chicago, but like they were terrible. They were like very unhelpful. But yeah, you know, and she's like, no problem. I'm gonna call my husband. He's a cop. And meanwhile, I'm like, shut the fuck up with your cop shit. I'm like, he's not involved with this. You know, because what cops do to other cops that aren't part of their PD, they'll try to bully you and not make a report, right? And try to pay you off so there's whatever. And I'm like, no. I have no idea how much this is gonna cost you. So I'm like, whatever. So, to fast forward through that, I was uninjured. I'm very lucky. She literally tapped my ass, you know. It was drivable while it was getting fixed. Went up to Randy's in Marengo. Amazing, by the way. I love that guy. He found the parts from far away. Got a new fender, new rear tire out of it. All right. Because I had a 500 deduct and that paid for everything. It was great. So now my bike is beautiful, but there's something different. Like, there was something different about this. I was suddenly spooked super, super bad. And I was like, I literally walked away. Bike is drivable. What is my problem? And I started to notice, like, within a week, I couldn't get on my bike. And I'm like, fuck. Dude, I've been doing this 17 fucking years, you know? What is my problem? I went through the mountains with my babes here to New York, babes right out. I got to experience the mountains, you know, for the first time. It was fucking amazing. But suddenly, I couldn't even go around the corner to go to work. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I just put the bike away in the garage. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I feel like a fucking pussy, you know? But there was something really there because I forced myself to get on the bike. And anytime a car was behind me, like even 2 car lengths behind me, I was like this, welling up. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. What the fuck? I don't want this to be it. Am I done riding, you know? So I put the bike away. We had this electric scooter, you know, the ones that like are all around. We have our own. It topped 21 miles an hour, you know. And I started wearing all my motorcycle gear and helmet on the scooter and riding in the bike lane. And that was my whole summer, last summer. And near the very end, like around October, my partner Adrienne, who is only like 2 years into riding, she's a very new rider, so she still has a young spirit of like, I can't wait to fucking get out there. It's 50 degrees, let's go, you know? And we've all been there, you know, but 17 years in, you're kind of like, I'm kind of cold, my back hurts, you know? But she's like, no, hear me out. She's like, how about we don't do the city? We go up Sheridan, like north, you know, towards Wilmette and the Baha'i Temple and everything. She's like, but I'm gonna be behind you. And I'm not even gonna be close to you. And I'm gonna keep all the cars off of you. I want you to just look forward and ride. Just get on that bike and ride. So we did, you know, and that was a fantastic ride. And it was crazy that when we ended that night, because it was dark by 5 p.m., right? So like, we pull into our garage in West Rogers Park, and I park and I put the kickstand down and I sobbed because I was like, this is the first time I've ridden in like 3 months. And then the end of the season kind of was done, you know, and then I went to therapy. I did something called EDMR, which is wild, you know. It was like lights going this way, and you had to associate a word with the trauma. And mine ended up being the word trapped. And so, to make it concise, is that you find out that PTSD is 20% of the actual incident. So getting tapped in the ass was just 20% of the PTSD. And apparently the unlocked, unconscious, other 80% was inside from other past shit that just was waiting to like come out, you know. And I thought I was doing really good, you know, but it triggered apparently like I have parents that are very much older than normal. They're closer to 80, you know, and unreasonable growing up. Very unreasonable demands, and I wanted out at 12. I knew at 12 years old, I'm fucking military, college, whatever, I'm out, you know. And, you know, so I felt trapped. I felt controlled, stuff like that. And then in like 2019, I was in a relationship where the person had undiagnosed borderline personality disorder, and that was fucking tough to get out of that, and I felt very trapped. And apparently all those things that had nothing to do with motorcycling affected it. Because people behind you in traffic, you can't fucking control them. And it's scary. It's really fucking scary, right? So, for the topic, yes, year 18 starts now, right? And I am going to get back on that fucking motorcycle. And I am gonna, it's gonna be so scary, but I'm gonna do it because through the fears and the tears, my love for riding is so much stronger. And I upgraded my wardrobe. Thank you.
What a great tale of being able to say yes to so much. And I think for those of us that have felt trapped in any circumstance, it's so helpful to have someone there by your side who's encouraging you to say yes. So happy that you have someone there to support you, pushing you to say yes, and getting out this year. Scooters, motorcycles, make it happen on 2 wheels. Full high vis, folks, full high vis. I fully expect the Bleeders to have a full Bleeders high vis vest ensemble for the next big ride, folks. Thank you, Mack. Great story. Really appreciate you telling it here up on stage.